Rain lashed the grimy alleys of Ashford, turning dust to rivers of mud. A tiny golden puppy, ribs jutting beneath drenched fur, staggered forward, dragging a frayed rope tied to a muddy bundle. A faint cry echoed from within, weak but desperate. Hope, as the puppy would be named, pressed through the storm, eyes burning with purpose. The rope snagged on jagged stones, but he tugged harder, trembling. Cars splashed past, their horns drowning out the bundle's soft whimpers. Passers-by hurried along, heads bowed under umbrellas. One man muttered, "Filthy stray," and stepped aside. A woman's gaze softened with pity, but she walked on. Hope ignored them, his focus locked on a weathered blue door at the alley's end. Clara, a reclusive artist, lived behind that door, her world bound to paint and solitude. She opened it for a delivery and froze. Hope stood trembling, rising on hind legs, paws pressed together as if in prayer, eyes pleading for mercy. At his feet, the muddy bundle twitched. Clara knelt, heart pounding, and untied the rope. Inside lay a tiny kitten, fur-matted, eyes barely open, shivering with ragged breaths. Hope nudged it gently, whining, as if begging Clara to act. Clara scooped up the kitten and Hope, racing through the rain to Dr. Samuel Green's clinic. Hope trailed her, never letting the kitten out of sight. The clinic's warmth met them, a stark contrast to the storm's bitter cold. Samuel, graying but steady, took one look at the kitten's frail form and moved swiftly. "Stay with me, little one," he whispered, inserting in foreline. Hope leapt onto the table, curling beside the kitten, licking its ears with care. The kitten, later named Flicker for its faint spark of life, barely breathed. Samuel cleaned its wounds, adjusted fluids, and spoke softly. Hope's eyes never left his friend, its loyalty a quiet force in the sterile room. Clara lingered, drawn by Hope's vigil. She had lost her brother years ago, sealing her heart from pain. Now, watching Hope's devotion, something stirred within her. Days passed, and she returned daily, sketching the pair in the waiting room. Flicker's recovery was slow but steady. By the second week, its eyes gleamed, and it lapped at milk. Hope's tail wagged, a golden blur, as it nuzzled its friend. Clara's pencil captured their bond, her own walls beginning to crumble. Staff whispered of the miraculous duo, their tale weaving through Ashford. Clara found solace in the clinic, her sketches breathing life into Hope and Flicker's story. Samuel adjusted treatments, his voice a steady anchor amid the uncertainty. One evening, as rain eased outside, Clara spoke softly to Hope. The puppy's gaze met hers, warm and trusting. Flicker purred faintly, a sign of strength returning. Clara's heart, long guarded, began to open to the world again. Months passed, and sunlight bathed Clara's garden in gold. Hope and Flicker chased leaves, their playful energy filling the air. Clara painted nearby, her laughter echoing, a sound absent for years. Her home pulsed with renewed life. One quiet afternoon, Clara swayed in her studio, vision fading. She collapsed, paintbrush clattering, her heart faltering in silence. Hope's ears twitched, sensing danger. The puppy darted to her side, whining frantically at her still form. Hope bolted from the garden, racing through the house and out the back door. Paws pounded across the grass towards Samuel's clinic. There, he rose on hind legs, paws pressed together in prayer, eyes desperate. Samuel frowned, alarm rising. "What is it, boy?" Hope spun, dashing back toward the house, glancing to ensure Samuel followed. Heart pounding, Samuel ran after, fear gripping him at the unknown crisis ahead. Inside, Samuel froze at Clara's motionless body on the floor. He dropped beside her, checking her pulse, faint but present. Training surged. He stabilized her, dialing for help, his hands steady despite the shock. Sirens wailed closer as Samuel held Clara's hand. Hope pressed against her, whimpering, its presence a comforting anchor. Paramedics arrived, rushing her to the hospital, where doctors worked to mend her fragile heart. 3 days later, Clara awoke in a sterile bed, weak but alive. Sunlight filtered through curtains as she whispered gratitude. Back home, she knelt in the garden, Hope and Flicker tumbling around her feet. Tears streamed down Clara's face as she stroked Hope's golden fur. "You saved me too," she murmured, voice trembling. The puppy's eyes shone, its loyalty a bond forged in trials and triumphs. Word spread through Ashford like wildfire. Neighbors arrived with flowers and drawings, celebrating the heroic puppy and his kitten companion. Samuel's clinic transformed into a beacon of miracles, doors open to all seekers of hope. Hope's journey, from dragging a rope to save Flicker to racing for Clara's life, revealed an eternal truth. Even the smallest hearts harbor the greatest love, capable of weaving lives together in unbreakable threads. Their story inspired the community, proving kindness ripples far. Ashford bloomed with tales of compassion, each act echoing the devotion of a golden puppy and his fragile friend. Thank you for watching Hope and Flicker's extraordinary tale. Your support illuminates lives like theirs. Share this story, subscribe for more, and let us spread the love these tiny heroes embody.